Good evening. If your mind has had a bit of weather today, gusts of headlines, a drizzle of worry, perhaps a full storm of what-ifs, let us notice it the way we would notice clouds passing over a mountain. We acknowledge the weather of the mind without bowing to it. We take off no crown to it. We submit no tithe to it. For the mountain remains unmoved, and the sky, for all its changes, does not alter the sun. Here is our simple promise, and I say it with the authority that only witness can give. Panic weakens when you stop powering it. If I had not watched this again and again, in homes, in hospital rooms, on trains, and in offices, I could not sit here so quietly. But I have seen fear blow itself out like a match deprived of air, the instant a heart turned from the windy clamor of effects to the still presence that is cause. Let me offer a gentle correction, and take it not as scolding, but as grace clearing the mist. Fear is universal mesmerism, not your personal identity. It is not your pet. It is not your nature. It is not your private failing. Perfect love casteth out fear. And I don't mean human affection. I mean the love that is being itself. The mistake we make is to call fear by our name, to say my panic, my terror, my anxiety. Smile at it, not with bravado, not with denial, but with recognition. Oh, you are only the world's weather knocking at my window. I do not have to invite you in for tea. We do not deny that the wind howls. We simply deny that it has any power in itself to rule the house of the soul. Why can we say this so calmly? Because there is only one power. Hear it. Let it ring until it unhooks the nervous system from its battery of alarms. There is only one power, not two, not competing armies of light and dark, not a seesaw of good days and bad days, but one. Be still and know that I am God. The stillness is not passivity. It is alignment with the truth that all cause, all life, all safety, all supply flow as grace from the invisible. He hangeth the earth upon nothing, and yet the earth does not fall. Why should you, upheld by the same eye that hung the stars, fear a thought storm? When I say panic weakens, when you stop powering it, I mean precisely this. Fear's seeming force is borrowed, and you are the lender. Its interest rate is attention. Its currency is belief. Withdraw the belief, redirect the attention, and the account goes to zero. Do not fight it. The very fight deposits more belief. Turn. Turn where? Turn within. Turn to the presence. Turn as the master turned in the boat and spoke. Peace, be still. Not to the ocean, but to the storm within the hearts. Looking at the ocean, we will not philosophize tonight without a way to live it. We will move from words to a practice that takes less than a minute, can be done standing in a crowded elevator or sitting in a waiting room, and requires no outward sign, no argument, no performance. 3 conscious breaths, 3 simple turns of attention that return your reliance to the one and in which grace meets you. Yes, in seconds. Do not wonder if it can be so. Test it. Prove me now herewith, saith the Lord. And I don't mean prove a method as magic. I mean let grace demonstrate its sufficiency as you remove your little hands from the steering wheel of fear. On a late train last winter, a young man across the aisle gripped the seat with white knuckles. I could hear the breath race, see the eyes widen. I did not lecture. I did not reach across with human counsel. I silently withdrew my consent from the picture, smiled within, and knew this agitation has no power. The one is here. In 3 easy breaths, as if a window had been opened in a crowded room, the air changed. His shoulders dropped. He looked out into the dark and then back to his hands, surprised that they were calm. Friends, that change was not my mind working on his mind. It was grace, meeting a moment in which no one fed the storm. So tonight, we begin where we must always begin. Not with the storm, but with the sea under it. Not with the symptom, but with the source. Not with panic and its demands, but with the one who does not demand, who gives. Let this be our axiom throughout these hours. There is only one power, and fear has none of its own. Smile at the weather of the mind, abide with the mountain, and be ready, quietly, to learn the 3-breath reset by which you, again and again, take back the key you have been handing over to panic and place it where it belongs, in the gentle, governing grace that is your sufficiency in all things. Let us take a sober look, not to be hypnotized, but to be freed. Fear grips the world, not your house only, not your nerves only. Fear, 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 from headlines to handshakes. In health, every sniffle is broadcast as a storm, every report amplified into yesterday's bruise and tomorrow's plague. In markets, a rumor at breakfast becomes a sell-off by lunch, and entire livelihoods ride a wave of sentiment as if providence were traded on an exchange. At borders, watchtowers of suspicion rise higher than the walls themselves. More locks, more lines, more scanning of what might go wrong. The schools tremble, the streets tense, and the late-night shows practice laughter with a clenched jaw. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. Hear that? Looking after those things. Staring at effects as if effects were cause. Now, the mind asks its usual question. Is more material power the answer? Bigger budgets, bigger arsenals, bigger data, bigger and more? The answer is no. Is it more pills without peace? The answer is no. Is it more rhetoric without realization? More legislation without illumination? The answer is no. This is not to mock medicine, nor to despise prudence, nor to belittle wise policy. We do not make a virtue of carelessness. We simply say, outward remedies without inner realization cannot cure a fear-driven world. If I had not watched the parade of bigger and more exhaust itself in home and hospital and council room, I would not say it so plainly, but I have, and I will. This is not taking sides. This is refusing the premise that fear is a power. Don't ask me to bless your party, your policy, your portfolio, or your platform as the savior. The government shall be upon his shoulder, and I don't mean a human prince. The one governs as presence realized, not as pressure applied. When fear rules the premise, even good proposals are made with a clenched fist and bear the stamp of their maker. When grace rules the premise, wisdom appears without fanfare, and the same proposal, or another, becomes a channel rather than a club. Consider this small parable. In a clinic waiting room, a mother rocks a fevered child. On the wall, a news feed scrolls warnings. The receptionist whispers about shortages. A gentleman in the corner scrolls market losses. A nurse hurries past counting doses. The air hums with a single song. Not enough. Not enough time, not enough beds, not enough money, not enough safety. Then into that same air, one person, just one, turns within and ceases to pay the bill of fear. No sermon, no sign, just the withdrawal of consent, the recollection of the one. God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. The temperature of the room shifts first in that one and then in the field around them. The nurse pauses. The mother's breathing steadies. The gentleman in the corner looks up at nothing at all and stops spiraling. Friends, I have watched this. Human plans exhaust themselves. Spiritual consciousness heals and governs. Do you see the aim of this little audit? Not to catalog terrors and then go home defeated. To see clearly so that we can turn from effect to cause, from the orchestra of alarms to the still, small voice. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, not to sell it, not to rent it to you for a premium in anxious times. Give it. What you rely upon rules you. If you rely upon fear's bulletin, fear will rule you with its budget. If you rely upon the one, grace will rule you with sufficiency. So, while the world drafts plans and prints posters, you and I will make a quieter draft, a transfer of reliance from the visible to the invisible. We will not argue with fear on its own terms. We will smile at it, and we will withhold our tribute, and presently seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you, not by magic, but by order, inner order, which is the only order that ever truly governs the outer. Now let us bring the lens close and quietly adjust the focus. We do not deny appearances. We deny their power to govern being. The waves may slap the hull. We deny that they steer the ship. The thermometer may read high or low. We deny that numbers rule. Life, headlines may blare. We deny that printing presses ordain reality. We do not insult fact. We simply refuse to enthrone it. Nothing from without can enter into a man to defile him, said the Master. The traffic of fear is outward traffic. It knocks, it clamors, it waves credentials from the world's office. But the door of the soul has no latch on the outside. Name it precisely. When the sensation rises, when the pulse leaps, when the thought says, here it comes, stop, and say within yourself, this is fear, not my fear. Do not pin your name on it. Do not let it wear your uniform. Remove the badge. Fear is universal mesmerism. It makes its rounds. It is a broadcast, not a biography. Do you see the shift? The moment you stop making it yours, the lease expires. The tenant has no contract. It must go. Fear isn't the power. Its only life is the belief you lend it. Take back the loan, and the borrower has nothing to spend. Stop paying its bills with your attention, and the lights go out in its little office. Make even your face an instrument of truth. Soften the brow. Unclench the jaw. Let the corners of the mouth know what the heart is beginning to know. And allow a small, honest smile to appear. Not mockery, not defiance, but recognition. Ah, a gust. Weather, not identity. This embodied cue is not theater. It is a sacrament. It says to the nerves, stand down. We are under new management. It says to the atmosphere around you, there is no tribute for fear here today. Try it in the hallway, in the car, in the meeting. You are not performing for others. You are reminding consciousness of its government. All power is within ourselves. Hear that, and do not mistake it for human self-reliance. The within I speak of is not the personal ego. It is the one life revealing as your very being. The kingdom of God is within you. The stream does not beg the rock for permission to flow. It flows from its source. Nothing from without can enter to defile, to diminish, to dethrone the I that is cause. When Pilate boasted of power, the Christ replied that no power could be had except it were given from above. Fear is always from beneath, from below the threshold of realization, and has no charter from the above. Let me show you this in a small scene you know too well. The phone chirps with an alert. The chest tightens. The mind races 3 days ahead. Right there, before the story gathers steam, you turn. Not outward within. You whisper, "This is fear, not my fear." Then you let the face soften. You watch, not the news, but the movement of attention. You withdraw the belief you were about to deposit, and in that simple refusal to co-sign, something loosens. The breath, uncoached, lengthens. The shoulders drop, uncommanded. A possibility not in the article appears in awareness. Be not afraid, only believe. Believe what? Not the latest figure, not the worst case chart. Believe the one power which never left and which, when relied upon, rules as grace. If I had not watched this dismissal, this gentle eviction again and again, I would hesitate to stand here. But I have, in sick rooms, in waiting lines, in the low rumble of family tension, in headlines that promised to swallow a week and were gone by Tuesday. Fear diminishes the moment you stop making it yours. It is as if you turn off a tap you forgot you opened. Do not argue with it. Do not decorate it with your name. Smile at it, withdraw the loan, and abide. Presently, often more quickly than the clock can measure, the atmosphere remembers its true governor, and grace, already sufficient, makes that sufficiency felt. Having smiled at the world's weather and refused at our name, let us place our feet where they must always stand, on the rock that does not move. There is only one power. I do not offer that as a slogan. I offer it as reality. The infinite invisible is cause. The visible is effect. All that you can see, tally, or touch is the echo of a voice you cannot outline. In him we live and move and have our being. The lamp does not invent light. It receives it. The tree does not strain to be rooted. It is rooted. And you, however the senses report, are upheld by the one. He hangeth the earth on nothing, and yet the earth does not fall. The unseen reliably bears the seen. Here is our axis. What you rely on rules you. If you rely upon appearances, appearances will sit on your throne and tax you with their temper. If you rely upon the one rules you with grace. God's grace is our sufficiency in all things. Take that not as poetry, but as provision. Good flows as gift, not as wage. We yield. We do not strive. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Hear the order. Sufficiency is not manufactured by human effort. It is realized as we step off the treadmill of self-power and stand still within the presence that already is. So I say to you now, with the same gentle firmness I use for my own heart, live through the Spirit now. Turn to the Spirit for everything. React only to the Spirit, not to the thermometer first, not to the market first, not to the rumor first. Turn within and ask, what is governing here? You will find it is always one. This is not passivity. This is alignment. The moment reliance returns to its rightful source, action, when needed, appears as a transparency of the one rather than as the hurry of the many. The Master said, I am the vine, ye are the branches. The branch does not pump sap by willpower. It abides, and the life moves by grace. Make the transition consciously and often. Move from dependence on the visible to reliance on the invisible. When the mind proposes, let us check one more forecast, add one more lock, rehearse one more worst case. Smile and remember, the forecast is effect, the lock is effect, the case is effect. Cause remains the infinite invisible. Do what prudence requires without bowing to it as God. Let the inner acknowledgement precede the outer step, and you will discover that the outer step is directed, sufficient, and free of the scent of fear. How does grace feel when it governs? Not dramatic, not noisy, a rightness that needs no argument. A thought appears that you had not been thinking. A door that was closed yesterday is not locked today. A strength rises in weakness. A calm stands where agitation camped. We do not congratulate ourselves. We recognize the governance of the One. Be still and know that I am God. Be still, then know. Knowledge follows stillness as dawn follows night. Some will ask, is it practical to trust the invisible when bills are due and bodies complain? I answer, as one who has watched this for years in homes and hospital rooms and meetings, the invisible is the only practicality that does not betray you. Human striving exhausts. Grace replenishes. Human plans need guarding. Grace guards you. You will find as you rely, that supply arrives not as reward for anxiety, but as order. Ideas come. Strength comes. Peace comes first, and then the form that matches peace. That is sufficiency. Therefore, set this seal upon your day. There is only one power. Say it when you rise. Whisper it as you walk. Remember it at the first quickening of alarm. Live through the Spirit now. Turn to the Spirit for everything. React only to the Spirit. Let grace have its government. What you rely on rules you rely on the One, and be ruled by grace. And as surely as the earth hangs on nothing and does not fall, you will hang your affairs upon the invisible and discover they are upheld quietly, constantly, more surely than your anxious hand ever could. Now, because grace is practical and the Spirit governs with order, let us place a simple map in your hands. 3 conscious breaths, not a ritual, not a charm, not human will flexing its muscle, but a brief return of attention to the one power. In 60 seconds, 90 at most, you can move from the edge of panic to the center of peace, not by making peace, but by ceasing to manufacture fear. Do it anywhere, standing in a doorway, waiting at a crosswalk, sitting on the edge of your bed at 3 a.m. No props, no audience. Silence is your sanctuary. Intention is your lamp. And because God's grace is our sufficiency in all things, grace meets you not because you have breathed perfectly, but because you have turned. Breath 1 is recognition. Notice a name without owning. The moment the swell begins, heart quickening, mind rehearsing, pause. Let the breath go out as if laying down a heavy bag. See the sensation and say within, gently and clearly, this is fear, not my fear. You are withdrawing its badge. You are refusing to pin your name to a passing gust. Do not argue. Do not entertain. Do not embellish. Just observe. Nothing from without can enter to defile. The parade is outside the gates. The city of your being is not compelled to open. Even let the face bear witness. Soften the brow. Release the jaw. Allow the faintest honest smile, a sacrament of non-consent. You are not mocking. you are recognizing mesmerism as mesmerism. In that first breath, the spell cracks because you have turned your eyes from the mirror of effects to the one who is cause. Breath 2 is withdrawal. Return all supposed power to the one. On the in-breath, receive the fact there is only one power. On the out-breath, release the pretense that fear has any. Say within, I withdraw belief from this picture. I revoke the loan of attention. All power is of God. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given from above. Feel what that means. No headline, no symptom, no ledger has an independent battery. They borrowed your consent. You are taking back the key. Again, this is not defiance. It is order restored. You are not pushing the storm. You are cutting the wire that seemed to run from it into your heart. You have moved from dependence on the visible to reliance on the invisible. And immediately the nervous system hears a new government being sworn in. Breath 3 is abiding. Rest, listen, and receive the quiet next rightness. On this breath, do nothing. Make no plan. Reach for nothing. Be still and know that I am God. Be still, then know. Let the in-breath rise like tide. Let the out-breath fall like trust. Allow the presence to be present. You may feel only a thread of calm, a softening at the edges. That is enough. Peace is not manufactured. It appears when you stop furnishing the argument against it. Often a wordless guidance follows a thought you were not thinking. A small motion toward or away, the strength to wait 10 minutes, the clarity to make one call. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Accept it as gift, not as wage. This whole reset is quiet. It demands no learner's badge, no raised hand, no announcement to the room. Do not preach it. Practice it. Let the results speak as signs following. You will notice, if you stay faithful in small moments, that rooms cool without air conditioning, that conversations turn without debate, that your own body ceases to echo alarms. And if asked why your manner is changed, do not argue metaphysics. Simply say what is true in a sentence. I am learning to rely on the one. Then return to practice. Return again tomorrow. Return in the hallway between meetings. In the hush before you answer the phone. In the middle of the night. What you rely on rules you. Rely on the one, and you will find grace ruling, not with fanfare, but with sufficiency. I offer you this little map not as theory, but as a well-worn path. If I had not witnessed its fruit in sick rooms and on sidewalks, I would not present it so plainly, but I have. 3 breaths, recognition without ownership, withdrawal of consent, abiding in grace, peace, be still. Not a command to the weather of the world, but to the little tempest that fed it from within. Take it now, keep it near, and when the next gust rises, as gusts do, smile, breathe, and discover again that panic cannot live where you refuse to pay its bills. And peace, the true governor, was nearer than your very breath. Begin here. Stop. Feel your feet in the shoes, the ground beneath the feet, the weight that proves you are not a thought, not a rumor, not a headline. You are. Let the shoulders lower a fraction. Soften the jaw. Let the tongue rest. Allow the faintest honest smile, not for show, but as an embodied refusal to enlist in fear's battalion. This little smile is a sacrament. It tells the nerves, we will not be drafted today. It tells the atmosphere around you, there is no tribute due here. Then let a gentle inhale come of its own accord. And as it comes, watch what is here. Sensations, images, words without laying a hand on any of them. On that in-breath, do the simplest work of spirit. Witness without owning. See the tightness in the chest, the quick script in the mind, the movie of futures that do not yet exist, and say quietly within, this is fear, not myself, not myself. If you prefer, this is fear, not my fear. Either way, you are removing the name tag you once pinned on a passing wind. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment does not argue with weather. It recognizes weather as weather and rests in the sky. Do not argue. Do not analyze. Do not Google. Leave the microscope in its drawer. Spirit observes without entanglement. Take no thought for your life. Does not mean abandon prudence. It means withdraw from the mental scramble that believes its fretting is power. You are not trying to make the fear go away. You are declining to fund it. You are not pushing it down. You are holding it up to light. When a child holds a toy too close to the eyes, it blurs and frightens. Move it out, and it is only plastic. So with fear, bring it into view, a pace or two away from your name, and behold it as the universal pattern making its rounds. Now a small demonstration, the kind that happens on an ordinary afternoon. The phone pings, an unexpected charge. For a breath, the stomach drops. The mind lifts a shovel to dig a trench of catastrophe. Right there, pause. Feel the soles of the feet. Soften the jaw. Let that slight, truthful smile return as if you remembered a friend's face. Inhale gently and say within, this is fear, not myself. Be precise. The clutching is a sensation. The story sprinting ahead is a story. The presence witnessing both is not in danger. Do not scroll for evidence. Behold. Do not rehearse statements. Behold. Hold the scene in awareness as you would hold a bird that flew into the room tenderly, briefly, without claiming it as pet. And open the window of attention to the one. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. As you do, you will notice that the spike, left unfed by your name, cannot keep its height. It trembles, it wavers, it settles like dust in sunlight. The thought you were not thinking may rise, wait 1 hour, or send one clear note, or nothing at all but a hush that is not vacancy but presence. Be still and know that I am God. Be still, then know. The knowing is not a conclusion. It is an awareness of rightful government reasserting itself. And in that awareness, you may still pay the bill. You may still make a call, but you will not pay with fear. You will not call from panic. You will act, if action is needed, as branch, not as disconnected stick. Make breath one frequent and brief. Catch fear at the door and refuse it your name. Let the face tell the truth before the lips speak. Remember, clarity begins right here in this, beholding without ownership, this naming without claiming. You have not solved a problem. You have ceased to create one. In that space, only a few seconds wide, the path opens for grace to govern the next breath and the next. Breath 2 now. Let the next exhale be deliberate, unhurried, like setting down a parcel you never needed to carry. On that slow release, you quietly rescind the charter you gave to a non-power. Say within, with calm authority, I withdraw all belief that fear is a power. There is only one power here, not shouted, not argued, spoken in the sanctuary where government is decided. You are not fear's power plant. You are not its grid. Without your consent, its lights go dim. Watch what follows in the body as a simple sacrament of truth. The shoulders, which had applied for the job of Atlas, resign. The face softens, as if remembering a long familiar kindness. The breath, which had been rationed by panic, is released from austerity. This is not theatrics, it is recognition. You have been paying fear's invoices with belief and attention. Now the account is closed. The bill goes unpaid. The collection agent knocks and finds the office empty. Understand what this is and what it is not. This is not suppression. We are not pushing anything down into a basement where it will grow louder in the dark. We are deauthorizing a counterfeit. We are revoking a license that was never issued by the One. Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given from above. Fear is always from beneath, from the realm of appearances enthroned as cause. It has no charter from above. When you say there is only one power here, you are not creating a new law. You are acknowledging the law that always was. And in that acknowledgement, mesmerism loses its audience. Now, the mind will propose its old bargain. Do something first, fix it first, reach for more steel, more lock, more dosage, more argument. Hear me. We do not despise outer remedies. We refuse to worship them. The order is this: sword of the spirit, not the surgeon's knife, inner realization before outer remedy. If there is a call to act, let it come through the stillness of reliance, not the scramble of fear, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. When the spirit governs first, the outer step, be it rest or medicine, a call or a quiet no, is clean, timely, and absent of tribute to fear. Try this in a common scene. You are seated across from a desk where numbers do not add, or at a bedside where breathing is shallow, or reading a headline that commands an entire day's emotion. Instead of contracting, you exhale as if opening a window. Within the declaration, I withdraw all belief that fear is a power. There is only one power here. Not my eloquence, not my will, the One. And in that wordless transfer of reliance, a subtle climate change occurs. The room is the same room, the ledger the same ledger, the chest the same chest, but something essential has shifted government. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, not in the power of your fantasy or your forecast, the power of his might present as presence. Notice again that we are not arguing with the picture. We are not gilding it with positive paint. We are simply refusing to co-sign the loan. Fear fades when you stop paying its bills with your belief. Each breath that says there is only one power reroutes electricity to its rightful source. You are no longer financing a thief. You are abiding in sufficiency. Often, in the wake of that exhale, an unanticipated clarity appears. Wait, or speak now, but with one sentence, or take the pill, but with peace, or walk outside, feel the sky, and then return. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Peace first, then the step that matches peace. So let breath too become familiar, as faithful as a bell that reminds you of the hour. Exhale slowly, release consent, quietly declare the fact. I withdraw all belief that fear is a power. There is only one power here. Let the body bear witness by softening. Let the unpaid bill flutter to the floor. This is your gentle revolution, not noise in the streets of thought, but a transfer of throne. Presently, what needed doing will be shown. Presently, what needed waiting will feel obvious, and all of it without the tax of panic, because you have ceased to fund it and chosen to rely not on might, but on the Spirit. Whoever whispers, perfect love casteth out fear. Now let the next inhale be gentle, easy, like drawing a curtain to admit morning light. No pushing, no fixing, no bargaining. Simply rest awareness in the quiet center that is not moved while the gusts passed. If a thought rises to edit or manage, smile and let it pass by. Be still and know that I am God. Be still first, know after. This is not the labor of making peace. It is the mercy of abiding in peace that already is. The branch does not manufacture sap. It abides in the vine and receives. Let a simple prayer of sufficiency form, not as a chant to persuade heaven, but as acknowledgement of what is. Thy grace is sufficient in all things. Whisper it once, maybe twice, and then stop. Do not embroider it. Do not negotiate with it. Let it be as it is, a door left open to a faithful friend. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Hear the order again. Sufficiency is not earned by your breath work. It is realized as you cease striving to be your own savior. Peace appears as you abide, not as you strive. Now do nothing for 10 seconds. 15, 20 if needed. This is a very little eternity. Enough time for the invisible to be felt as presence, as assurance, as that slight but unmistakable rightness that needs no footnote. You may notice warmth across the chest, or a widening behind the eyes, or only the hush that is not vacancy but occupancy. Do not check on it like a nervous host. Do not time it with suspicion. Rest. In this small interval, you are letting the government be upon his shoulder rather than upon your own. The world will not collapse if you surrender 20 seconds. In that surrender, you will learn it is upheld by another. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. From here, you listen not with ears straining, but with a willingness to be moved or to be kept. The next rightness, if there is one, often arrives small. Wait 10 minutes. Send one clear sentence. Drink water. Take the medicine with peace. Make the call now with gentleness or nothing at all, and let the dust settle on its own while you keep your seat in grace. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Movement by grace is unhurried, clean, absent of the smell of compulsion. You will know it by the way it carries you rather than the way you push it. Keep the rule clear within yourself. Silent realization, not argument. You are not defending your peace in debate. You are discovering your peace in presence. You will find that from then on, it isn't difficult. Why? The current is doing the carrying. The yoke is easy. The burden is light. If I had not watched this in sick rooms and offices and kitchens, watched the 10-second hush shift in atmosphere, I would not speak so plainly. But I have. Abiding precedes answer. Reliance precedes remedy. Seek first the kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. So let breath 3 be your seal. Gentle inhale. Rest in the center. Thy grace is sufficient in all things. 10 seconds of holy unhurry. Listen and either move by grace or be kept by grace. No display, no announcement, a smile, perhaps the sacrament of non-resistance, and then your day proceeds under a different government than the one fear offered. And when the gust returns as weather does, you know the way home. Abide, and watch how peace appears by itself, without your hands on the levers, because the one power, quiet, sufficient, present was here before the wind and remains after it. Now let us look for the signs following, because grace is not an abstraction, it works. The same inner law answers in the sick room and the Senate when you withdraw fear's power. I would not dare say this if I had not watched it for years in bodies and boardrooms and kitchens, but I have, so I speak plainly and quietly. Remove your belief from fear. Return reliance to the one power, and peace makes itself known first as climate, then as right action. Begin with the body. A surge comes, sudden heat, fluttering in the chest, the mind racing ahead of itself as if it must hold up the sky. Do not scramble for a bigger sky. Breathe. Breath 1. This is fear, not myself. Breath 2. I withdraw belief. There is only one power here. Breath 3. Thy grace is sufficient. Be still and know. In seconds, the pulse that was drumming at the gates begins to remember its river. You may even place a finger at the wrist and notice. Steadier. The shoulders leave off their imitation of Atlas. The breath returns to generosity, and often a quiet guidance appears, not as compulsion, but as the next rightness. Walk to the window. Drink a glass of water. Step outside into the night air and let the stars do their ancient work. Or take the medicine with peace. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. We are not hiding symptoms. We are ceasing to pay fear's invoices. The body, relieved of taxation by panic, becomes responsive to grace. And if action is needed, it comes clean, without the smell of hurry, because the government has shifted. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Now the home. A conversation in the kitchen sharpens. Tone hardens. You feel the old prosecution building its case. This is the very place to become priest in your own house. Before the tongue moves, breathe. Breath 1. This anger's surge is fear knocking, not my identity. Breath 2. I withdraw the power I have been lending to this drama. There is only one power in this room. Breath 3. Abide, listen. Out of that hush, a different voice speaks, often in few words. A soft answer appears, not a technique, not diplomacy. A softness born of relying on the one. A soft answer turneth away wrath. The room's weather changes. You see the face before you as someone beloved, not as a verdict to win or lose. Perhaps you say, I hear you. Let's sit a moment. Perhaps you say nothing and let your silence stop the duel. Children in the next room, who are excellent theologians about climate, register that something invisible just took the throne. This is not manipulation. This is nonpartisan blessing in your own house. You take no side but the side of grace. And remarkably, even if the other still fumes, you are ruled by the gentle governor, and that rule becomes contagious. Now the headlines. Fear's parade is loud nations threatening, markets shuddering, leaders accusing, storms circling. Read without being ruled. Do not argue with the page. Withdraw your consent to its enthronement. Breath 1. This tide of alarm is not myself. Breath 2. I withdraw belief that catastrophe is a power. There is only one power governing earth as in heaven. Breath 3, be still and know. Hold nations, all of them, in the light of the one. Bless leaders, all of them, not because you agree, but because you refuse fears thrown everywhere. This is not taking sides. It is taking the side of the one. He maketh wars to cease unto the ends of the earth. Love your enemies. Let your inner posture be nonpartisan grace. One presence where factions claim separate thrones. From that reliance, what is yours to do, if anything becomes clear? Write one civil note rather than 10 outraged posts. Give quietly. Volunteer 1 hour, or do nothing today but keep your post in peace. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. You will notice the trance weakens. The headlines remain ink and light. They no longer draft your nerves into their armies. I say again, if I hadn't witnessed this repeatedly, I could not ask you to trust it. But I have seen monitors quiet after 3 breaths when fear's plug was pulled. I have watched quarrels lose their appetite when one person refused to feed them. I have sat in meetings where rancor dissolved, not because anyone was won in debate, but because someone, often unseen, turned within and yielded the floor to grace. Our work is not noisy. It is exact. One power acknowledged within becomes climate without. Practice it in the body, and the body responds. Practice it at the table, and the home remembers its peace. Practice it before the morning news, and you become a witness rather than a weather vane. These are the signs following not fireworks, but order, not drama, but sufficiency. Withdraw power from fear, rely on the one, and watch quietly, faithfully, as the same inner law answers in the sick room and in the Senate with the only government that holds, the government upon his shoulder. Peace, be still. Now, a few gentle corrections, because even earnest hearts may wander into side paths. Stay with the practice, not the performance. We are not auditioning for spirit. We are consenting to grace. Fear is universal mesmerism, not personal failure. So do not turn the work into a contest of courage. The common error is this: waiting to feel brave before you practice. Do not wait. Practice first. Feeling follows realization. As they went, they were cleansed. Move toward the center with the smallest willingness, and the climate shifts. You do not need a lion's roar. A mustard seed will do. Breathe simply. Turn quietly. And let the assurance rise after, not before. Courage as sensation is fickle. Reliance as consciousness is steady. Another trap. Using the steps to force outcomes. The mind whispers, if I do 3 breaths correctly, the symptom must vanish. The meeting must bend. The headline must reverse. That is bargaining, not reliance. Outcomes are effects. Consciousness is cause. Seek the kingdom, not the fireworks. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added, not seized, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Let the order be inviolate. Realization first, result as sign following. You will find, if you hold to one power, that right action appears with no smell of compulsion upon it. And sometimes the right action is wholly waiting. This third, preaching the method. Do not turn your kitchen or your office into a lecture hall. Practice silently and let peace leak out. Let your light so shine before men, not your rhetoric. If asked, answer simply, kindly, in a sentence, and return within. We are not recruiting to a camp. We are bearing witness to a presence. Nonpartisan grace has no pamphlet. It has a climate. In that atmosphere, quarrels forget their lines, and worries misplace their scripts without your raising a banner. Then there is the drama of the breath itself. Over-efforting is only fear in a new costume. Keep it ordinary, friendly, undramatic. The breath you take at the sink, the one between rings of the telephone, that is enough. No straining, no counting as if performance could purchase peace. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Let the breath be like that, easy, light. A faint, honest smile is still the sacrament, not a show. From then on, it isn't difficult, because you are not making anything happen. You are ceasing to resist what is already present. Lastly, the measure. Do not measure by fireworks. Measure by ease, by clarity, by kindness. Does your tone soften? Do you find yourself less drafted into imaginary futures? Do you choose one clean sentence instead of 10 anxious paragraphs? These are the signs. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. Fruit, not noise. Often the smallest proofs are the most faithful. A night's rest where there had been vigil, a morning free of dread, a meeting that ends on time with no winner and no loser, only understanding. The presence usually arrives as a still small voice, not as thunder, yet it governs. If I hadn't watched these corrections restore simplicity again and again, I wouldn't press them. But I have, so take them kindly. Practice first. Let feeling follow. Seek consciousness. Let outcomes be added. Don't preach. Embody. Breathe normally. Avoid ceremony. Measure by fruit, not by spectacle. And when you notice you've slipped, waiting, forcing, performing, smile. Begin again. Breath 1. Recognize without owning. Breath 2. Withdraw the power you've been lending. Breath 3. Abide and listen. Stay with the practice, not the performance. God's grace is our sufficiency in all things. There is only one power. In that reliance, even the corrections are tender, and the path straightens under your feet. Let us make this simple and steady. A rule of life, not a rule of performance. Abide between storms. Serve in storms. When practice becomes your rhythm, peace becomes your climate. Begin at the beginning of the day. Before the world claims your eyes, give 3 minutes to the invisible. Sit, smile faintly, the sacrament of non-resistance. Let one gentle breath arrive of its own accord and whisper within, Thy grace is sufficient in all things. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, not as duty, but as orientation. Do not ask the day to be easier. Let consciousness be clearer. 3 minutes is enough to prime reliance. One power here, one presence here, one life here. Abide in me, and I in you. Put nothing on your to-do altar until you have first placed reliance there. Carry that reliance into the thresholds of your day. Let doorways be bells. Each time you pass from one room to another, pause with a breath 1. This is not mine to fear. Then a breath 2. There is only one power here. And a breath 3. Be still and know. Phone rings. Let it be your monastic call to prayer. Before you speak, 3 breaths. Headlines. Do not be drafted by ink and light. 3 breaths. Elevator doors close, 3 breaths. These little hinges swing wide doors. In seconds, you transfer government from appearance to presence. The mind will whisper, "You do not have time." Smile at it and do it anyway. It takes less time than a sigh. Pray without ceasing does not mean ceaseless words. It means frequent returns to reliance. Evening returns you to gratitude, not as sentiment, but as recognition of rightful government. Sit again for a few minutes and quietly examine the day. Where did fear lose its throne? Remember the tense call that softened, the body's surge that settled, the child's eyes that brightened when you answered softly. Name these not as your triumphs, but as signs following. This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes. Give thanks specifically. Thy grace was sufficient there and there. Gratitude seals realization. It trains the heart to notice presence instead of rehearsing absence. If there were places you forgot, do not indict yourself. Place them now in the light and sleep under another's government. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He restoreth my soul. Feed consciousness as you would feed the body. Study and prayer are not ornaments, they are bread. Read a few living lines in the morning and at night. Carry one sentence through the day as you would carry a key. There is only one power, or not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Or be still and know that I am God. Hide the word in your heart. It will arise unbidden at the very moment the world shouts for panic. This is not accumulating verses as trophies. This is letting truth dwell until practice is natural. And review your own notes of grace. Keep a small record of the day's demonstrations, not for boasting, but for anchoring. When wind rises, pages of remembrance steady the hand. Then serve in storms. For others, withdraw power from fear on their behalf. When a name crosses your mind with concern, stop where you are and do the quiet work. Breath 1. This fear is not theirs, not mine. It is no one's. Breath. 2. I withdraw belief that fear is a power. There is only one power present with them now. Breath 3. Thy grace is sufficient. I abide and listen. Hold them and feel his presence, without advice, without manipulation. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Love your enemy this way too. Bless those you disagree with by removing fear's crown from their heads in your consciousness. This is not taking sides. This is taking the side of the one. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Gather with them in the invisible. Even if you stand alone in a kitchen, grace does the heavy lifting. Make this your rule. Morning abiding, threshold breaths, evening gratitude, steady study, and silent service. Quiet, frequent, undramatic. From then on, it isn't difficult, because you are no longer trying to manage weather. You are living from the sky. Peace becomes climate. Government returns to its rightful shoulder. And when storms arrive, and they do, you do not run to find a practice. You are already in it, and it carries you into gentle service. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. Receive it in the morning, return to it at the thresholds, recognize it in the evening, share it in the storm. There is only one power. God's grace is our sufficiency in all things. Abide and serve. Beloved, we end where we began. There is only one power, not 2 powers wrestling for the helm. One. The gentle Christ presence in you is sufficient for every wave that ever rose or will rise. Peace, be still, was not addressed to water alone. It was the government of presence speaking into appearance. And if that presence be in you, and it is then, fear's parade is already disbanded by a word that is not shouted but known. This is our quiet certainty. God's grace is our sufficiency in all things, not by might, not by argument, by spirit. So wherever you stand today, kitchen tile or clinic floor, shop counter or city hall, stand as one who knows where government rests. Withdraw the power you have been lending to fear. Do it without show. Do it without sides. Do it as a priest in ordinary clothes. When worry drafts your nerves, when headlines command your loyalty, when a face before you trembles or blames, remember, you are not at their mercy because there is no mercy in non-power. There is only one power. Smile faintly the sacrament of non-resistance and let reliance return to its rightful throne. This is not evasion. This is obedience to reality. The government shall be upon his shoulder. Let it be there. Before we part, let us seal this not as more talk, but as practice. 3 breaths now, together. Breath 1, recognize and name without owning it. Whatever thought or tightening tries to claim you, let it pass before you like weather across a still lake. Say within, this is fear's movement, not myself. It is universal mesmerism, not a personal identity. Be still and know that I am God. Be still first. Breath 2, withdraw the power you've been lending. On the slow exhale, quietly rescind consent. I withdraw all belief that fear is a power. There is only one power here, not by might nor by power, but by thy spirit. The unpaid bill flutters to the floor. The collection agent finds no office. Breath 3, abide in grace and listen. Let the inhale arrive of itself and whisper, thy grace is sufficient in all things. Then rest 10 heartbeats. Do nothing. Let government return to the shoulder that never wearies. In that hush, a rightness appears, sometimes as movement, sometimes as keeping, always as peace. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. I bear witness, humbly and plainly, that this is not theory to decorate a quiet hour. If I hadn't seen it bear fruit through years, sick rooms settling, homes remembering their tenderness, meetings losing their appetite for accusation, even storms of policy and markets finding a sane shore, I could not sit here so confidently. I have watched the small, faithful act of withdrawing fear's crown change the weather without debate. Not fireworks, fruit, not noise, government. Perfect love casteth out fear. Casteth, not coaxes. So receive this blessing as a commission and a comfort. Go in peace, not as a tourist of serenity, but as its steward. Carry peace, a silent government, into each threshold, and let thresholds remind you. Withdraw power from fear wherever you meet it. In your pulse, in a neighbor's eyes, in the trembling of a nation. Do it without performance. Do it without delay. And let grace be your sufficiency in all things. When you forget, and we all do smile, begin again. One power, one presence, one life. Lo, I am with you always. That is enough. The presence in you is gentle. The presence in you is strong. The presence in you is sufficient to calm every storm. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. Make his face shine within thine awareness. Lift up his countenance upon thy affairs and give thee peace. Take this peace and serve with it, not by might nor by power, but by his Spirit. Abide between storms. Serve in storm. And let the world learn by your quiet demonstration that there is only one power and that grace governs. Peace be unto you.